Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Hello, and welcome to your League One Ontario Men's Premier Division Game of the Week, coming to you live, of course, on the League One Ontario YouTube channel. We are proud and privileged today to play our part in a doubleheader here at the York Lions Stadium, whetting appetites for this evening's York United versus Calgary FC Canadian Premier League game with a real clash of titans of our own. A Vaughan derby between the designated home team Woodbridge Strikers and the visitors Vaughan SC. Woodbridge Strikers come into this game 10th in the table currently after the results yesterday have dropped them down a few spaces, but it's tight in the middle of the pack at the present, and a win today could kind of bump them up several places. So I'm sure they'll be striving to make an impression early on of the season and kind of really drive for those playoff spots that they've missed out on last season. Last season, of course, Vaughan SC were undefeated champions throughout both the regular season and the playoffs. But they do currently sit at 12th in the table. Now, that might be a slight false representation of their ability, given that they've only actually played 4 games thus far this season, which is a few less than the teams around them. So it's tricky to get a real read on the ability and potential of this team. Much changed Vaughan SC team from last season, as several players have, of course, left, which I'm sure we'll get into as we go throughout the game. One of the reasons, of course, for Vaughan SC being down in terms of games is because they were representing League One Ontario in the Canadian Championship earlier this season, going up against CF Montreal in the opening rounds, taking away a creditable 2-0 loss. And certainly making a name for some of the players, including, I'm sure, some of the folks that we'll see out on the field today. Some interesting lineup news. Hugo Aiden, apologies, actually starts for Woodbridge Strikers. Number 21. This is his second game for the team, but he'll be in high confidence, having scored a brace in the previous game. And actually, maybe I'll take this opportunity to run through, before we really get going, run through the starting lineups of both teams in numerical order rather than positional. But for our home Woodbridge Strikers, who at present are on the right side of your screen wearing all blue and the goalkeeper in orange, we have number 1, Alexander Pothamont. Number 2, Luca Pinto. Number 4, Isaiah Noel. Number 5, Luka Vasic. Number 6, Jacob Pispitziri. And number 8, Navid Rahman. Number 11, Riley Wishart. Number 17, Gregory Mulopoulos. Number 21, Hugo Aiden, as mentioned. Number 23, Uday Aurora. And then number 24, Franco Di Giovanni. And then for Vaughan SC, who will be on the left side of your screen, kicking from left to right with the white shirts, red shorts, and goalkeeper in the highlighter yellow. We will have Alessio Carbone in goal. Number 2 will be Daniel Gogati. Number 4, Niall Higgins. Number 5, Raheem Rose. That's the captain, and he's a pretty easy player to spot with bleached blonde hair. Number 8, Christopher Campoli. Number 9, Omar Marzouk. Number 10, Emmanuel Zambasis. Number 11, Ryan Robinson. Number 17, Christian Zepieri. Number 21, Soji Alotoye. And then number 18... You'll have to forgive the handwriting on the team sheet isn't terrific, but Nathaniel... give me just 2 seconds on that one, as the game is now underway. And we get our kind of first look at these shapes that the teams are going to be playing here. With certainly in possession, Woodbridge kind of like lining up. It looks like a 4 at the back. Maybe they'll have the 2 sat in front of the defense. And, well, that's a good run down the channel for Franco Giovanni. And not a bad ball in, but read and cut out by Gogati quite straightforwardly. And as Yuri will look to settle this one down too. It is a hot day today here at the York University Stadium, so control of the ball, control of the tempo of the game is going to be really important, particularly as we get towards the end of the game. We may see some water breaks throughout the course of the game, so don't be surprised if that happens, particularly, as we've all played on these artificial turfs ourselves. And the the rubber has a tendency to hold the heat. So if it's been sat baking under the sun all morning, I'm sure these folks will be feeling it, particularly, as mentioned, as the game goes on. Oh, Di Giovanni playing that one through for Wishart, who's through on goal. The chance may be coming a little early for Riley Wishart, who's been in good scoring form thus far for this season. Having actually 3 goals on the season. You have to say the ball through from Franco Di Giovanni really deserved to be finished. It split the defense perfectly. Riley Wishart, I mean, the chance maybe almost coming too early in the 3rd minute of the game. Caught off guard. And so we have our first corner of the game for Woodbridge Strikers. Oh, and that one. Punched clear by Carbone. And Aiden really only turning into trouble, and a very neat little pirouette there from Zambasis to get away from trouble, keep things moving. Spitziri really gaining a lot of ground down the line there, but running out of space, and Vaughan is already turning on the tricks wherever they are in the field, but this time not quite able to get themselves clear. Gogati messing around with it a little less this time, just getting clear. And the referee seeing nothing wrong with the somewhat, I mean, perhaps intentional, slightly intentional contact initiated there by the Woodbridge player. But we'll keep things moving nonetheless. Oh, an early shot, an early chance there for Marzouk too, who again has been in good form thus far this season. 4 goals on the season. Team of the week on a couple of occasions. He actually scored 9 last season. Not the lead scorer, of course. That would have been Massimo Ferrin and indeed Cozy Nwafonso, who both of which have moved on to Halifax Wanderers of the Canadian Premier League, alongside head coach Patrice César, who took those 2, and Riley Ferrazzo along with him. So, as mentioned, this is a Vaughan team that is much changed from last season. It looked a little different. There's actually a few call-ups in the lineup sheet today. So, but there's going to be changes, but we all know, of course, that the quality of Vaughan Azzurri runs throughout the entire club. So it really doesn't just sit at the top. It's they have depth all the way through. But it'll be something worth keeping an eye on. Just how in rhythm is this team? A changed squad. They're only their 5th game of the season. Are they going to be able to click into gear and take an early season win against their Vaughan rivals in what is looking to be a feisty affair already? Vaughan Azzurri will keep this ball moving, but and actually we have maybe a slight change here, as number 25 is on my team sheet Sami Sebaduka, who was not initially part of the lineup, but he looks like he's slotted in at right back, unless some folks have been changing jerseys around. My apologies to Sammy if I missed him out. Oh, it's a neat cut out there from from Woodbridge, and well, Sibaduka earning an early yellow card for his troubles in only the 7th minute. Now to spend the rest of this game.
Yellow card shown to volunteer number 25, Sammy Sibaduka, in the 7th minute.
To play the rest of this game up against a player with the ability of Jacob Spitziri on a yellow card would be a daunting prospect for anybody. So we'll see how that develops and whether Woodbridge strikers take the decision to really charge at that and look to exploit that newly developed and newly found weakness. Vasic will keep that one moving for Pinto. Back to Vasic. Not really many options ahead of him, but Aiden had come back well. Noel now. Oh, turned in nicely for Aurora to really hammer down the line. Mulopoulos now filling in at that right back position that Aurora had vacated. Vasic just happy to wait, happy to let Vaughan commit before they play. Not really wanting to let them play themselves into trouble. Wanting Vaughan to commit themselves and create the spaces themselves that they can then play through. If you're just joining us for this beautiful summer day here, in the game between Vaughan Azzurri and Woodbridge Strikers at York University Stadium, we did have an early chance in the 3rd minute with Riley Wishart of Woodbridge being played through on goal by Franco Di Giovanni, but not able to put it away. And a quick disciplinary update. Number 25, Sammy Sibaduka, the Vaughan Azzurri right back, has already received a yellow card in just the 7th minute as Raheem Rose very neatly plays that one back. And with Vaughan looking for the shot between Robinson and Zambasis, they were just able to get a shot loose, but the Woodbridge defense was able to charge it down as they looked to transition the other way. Di Giovanni checks back, finds Mulopoulos. Spitzira is in a great deal of space on this far side, of this near side to us, apologies, if Woodbridge want to go for the switch. Mulopoulos able to turn, finds Spitzira, hounded by Rose all the way back to Knoll. Aurora looking for options, has Rahman inside, takes that option. Hugo Aiden looks a very shifty player. We all know the type, socks low, ready to take a man on. Mulopoulos looking for that ball over the top, possibly looking for the run of Hugo Aiden, but the ball too straight right through to Alessio Carbone in the Vaughan Azzurri net. I'm sure he's happy to get a touch here as well. Edwards back to his centre-back, Gogati. And then we get a chance perhaps to look at the way Vaughan are going to develop their play too whilst in possession. It looks like they're going to run a 4-3-3 of sorts. With again the something we see quite regularly with the fullback spreading wide. What a lovely wee ball over for Robinson, who had just straight offside though. The coaches there, that's very possibly Anthony Vadori of Vaughan Azzurri, demanding that his team stay high. He wanted the Woodbridge team to be kept in during that kick, but Woodbridge able to get it out, but not develop anything yet. Thus far, Woodbridge have had a lot of joy on that far side 12 minutes into the game, but they've had joy on that far side through their right-sided midfielders and attackers. So we'll see if they continue to develop that. As mentioned, Sebaduka is already on a yellow card, so you might want to get Spitzero isolated one-on-one with him, see if they can exploit that. But otherwise, yeah, the heat of the day may take the tempo and the sting out of this game early on. Was Aurora does nicely to cut that ball out for looking for Marzuk. Then a neat turn from Di Giovanni away from trouble. Didn't really have too many options. Was looking for that hopeful ball over the top for Wishart to chase, but cut out by Gogati. Edwards, the nominal left fullback, you see, had taken up a position high on the right side, or the left side, apologies. Marzuk plays him through. He'd stayed onside. Keeps this one moving. Campoli breaking into the box very neatly, but not able to get away from Knoll with a challenge, elastic challenge to take away the opportunity for shooting. And then Zeppieri offered a chance that he did not decide to turn down. But sending that one high, wide, and not particularly handsome. So again, good patient work. And we could see the number 18 and Nathaniel Edwards, I've mentioned the nominal left fullback, acting almost as a left winger there, linking well with Omar Marzuk and really stretching out the Woodbridge defence. That one eluding everyone. And Aiden looking to bring it under control. Being nicely surrounded by 3 shirts. Dinking, diving, turning, spinning. Earning himself a free kick. Put under pressure by Rose. Looking for Aiden, but... Oh, and that's neatly won by Milopoulos. Now he's driving at the turns. He's got options. He's shaping to shoot, but instead chooses to lay it off for Di Giovanni. Oh, and that's a terrific ball across, and Wishart really should have done much better with that one. Milopoulos did terrifically to win the ball in the midfield. Got the defense, the receding defense on their heels. Found Di Giovanni in plenty of space on the right side, and the crossover for Wishart was really just asking to be headed. You could say perhaps that the number 11, the forward for Woodbridge, was maybe the ball was slightly behind him. He wasn't able to get over it. Ross was really looking to be dispatched and converted. That's 2 good chances now for Woodbridge in the game. Both coming from the Di Giovanni Wishart link-up. So let's keep an eye on that as this one develops. Oh, and Raheem Rose found with all manner of space. Able to drive in. Oh, allowed into the penalty area and able to take a shot. Let loose a snapshot with his left foot. Not the strongest effort, but really just given the freedom of the penalty box by the Woodbridge defense there, who seemed very tentative in order to put a challenge in. Spitzero quickly onto that one. Very, very nicely done. Latching onto anything loose. Di Giovanni begging for that ball to be played over by Rahman, but he turned the opportunity down. Ball has plenty of options. Could have kept it moving. Finds Wilopoulos though. Ooh, a lovely ball. Straight ball right up there, and Wishart was maybe a little on his heels for that ball through from Di Giovanni, who's able to take advantage of Edwards' slip. And Wishart plays in Di Giovanni, but there's no blue shirts in the middle of the box really to aim across at. And so Di Giovanni keeps battling and struggling and earns a corner for his labours, which, given the lack of support he had up alongside him, really has to be considered probably the best option or the best outcome of that particular play. So this will be the second corner of the game for Woodbridge. First one came to nothing. It was met neatly by Carbone with a punch directly out. So we'll see if Aiden is able to evade the attentions of the goalkeeper with this one. Oh, and that one sails clear over the head of all onlookers to a wayward set piece. And Woodbridge coming with a very, very high press early. We'll see how that manages to they maintain that over the course, but ooh, Rose just missing out on that, pulling out of that challenge from Luca Pinto, but it was great work by Omar Marzouk to advance the ball, drive at the defense, commit some players. It's good work from Rose. A lovely turn inside from Campoli. Campoli with the ball inside. Cleared by Noel. Only as far as Rahman, but his clearance not a great one either. Vaughan back in control here. Sebaduka has plenty of space on this side. Drives inside, finds Zapieri. Sebaduka right into the path of Marzouk. Delays! Oh, now one is it! Marzouk showed great patience in not taking that shot too early, taking his time, waiting for the opportunity to open up. His shot was not the most powerful, but I seemed to wrong foot Alexander Pothermont in the net, and who I seemed to be expecting a near post shot, could only stick out a leg in an effort to divert it wide. It did look as if it was still going to make its way into the net, but in the end, Ryan Robinson was the one on hand to ensure the goal and ensure the lead for Vaughan Azzurri. That's the 20th minute. Vaughan, the team who had given up a couple of really solid chances already, now find themselves in a one-goal lead, and that's really that's the sign of a real quality team where they're able to take chances from nothing. And yeah, when you have a player like Omar Marzouk on the team who can really, as they say, almost kind of conjure things out of thin air and show wonderful patience to take his time and get that shot on net, good things will happen for you. So how does that change the complexion of the game? Vaughan now up a goal. Vaughan Rahman with a loose ball back, but adjudged to have been held in his attempt to play it. And Bilgati able to get that one free. Grossman able to turn. And rolls it into the feet of Pinto, but no real options ahead of him. It's one of the issues with Spizero maybe tucking inside. He won't have an option down the line as Moulopoulos with a loose touch. Oh, and a heavy contact there, but both players are up quickly. Wishart looking to settle this one down. It does so nicely. Back to Vasic, who you can see hobbles away from playing that pass. He had saved Moulopoulos' bacon earlier on. What a lovely ball for Marzouk to chase as he cuts inside, dances. Oh, and that's a very tempting little ball inside. Edwards not quite able to get the challenge or get the shot on target. Instead, Baduka now opens it up. The right back finding himself in the number 10 position and getting a shot on that, and it wasn't a terrible one by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, Marzuk's touch is loose, and Di Giovanni was trying to stab that one through for Wishart, but just a little bit too much on it this time around. Sebaduka and Rose linking nicely once again on this near side. Sebaduka choosing to refuse the run of Robinson, which seemed smart to me, as the Woodbridge forward had perhaps strayed offside. And Vaughan forward, apologies. And so Vaughan now keeping hold of this ball. 1 goal to the good on a hot day. There's no real reason to get themselves into a transitional race. Campoli has a couple options forward. Oh, a lovely little wall pass with Rose and a great chance. Rose is such a shifty, quick player. Knows what he's doing. He seems to be 2-3 steps ahead of the game. Actually was the subject of a really good interview with Derby Mag, a publication on Canadian soccer that I suggest everybody goes and checks out, but an excellent interview with him. Just want to take a quick moment during this break-in play to say that this afternoon's broadcast is brought to you by CIBC, a proud partner of League One. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. Just very important for a day like today. Maybe I should have saved that for the water break. Degree, similarly, inspiring the confidence to move. And then Macron, work hard, play harder. Game running there from Aiden Hugo, but to no avail as he gives away a free kick in his haste to win the ball back from Christian Zeppieri. And here we are. Indeed, we do have our first water break of the day in roughly the 25th minute in the first half. Quick recap of sorts for you. Our scoring, we've had 1 goal by Ryan Robinson. Converted, you have to say, by Ryan Robinson, or turned home after the good work from Omar Marzouk, who delayed and waited for the shooting opportunities to open up for him. Pothamont in the Woodbridge goal looked like he maybe perhaps had done enough to send the ball wide, but Ryan Robinson was on the scene to ensure indeed that the goal was scored, and he was going to be troubling the goal scorers, the scorekeepers. So that's our scoring. Disciplinary, Sami Sebaduka, number 25, the right back for Vaughan SC, does have a yellow card. But in spite of the score, I will say, certainly hasn't been all Vaughan. Woodbridge maybe have seen more of the ball, certainly in terms of the eye test. I do not obviously have those numbers, but they've looked good. Had a couple of good opportunities. Riley Wishart actually had a great chance in the 3rd minute of the game that he should have put away when he was put through clear on goal by Franco Di Giovanni. But otherwise, he still looks game. He still looks like he's up for the challenge. Similarly, Hugo Aiden, number 21. But we'll see, as I'm sure you'll tire of me mentioning how this heat plays an effect as the game wears on. For now, there's still plenty of vim in the game, but as mentioned, we are only in the 27th minute, so... Rose really with nowhere to go. Oh, and that's lovely work from Hugo Aiden again, showing the kind of player that he is. Wishart had held his run, stayed on side, but no, once again, no support. We've seen this already with Woodbridge, where there isn't a rush to provide supporting players in attacking situations. It was really kind of Wishart against the entire Vaughan Azzurri defense at that point, and again, it seems like a corner was probably the best possible outcome he could have hoped for, aside from, you know, a little bit of sorcery, but a corner they will take. Thus far, the two previous ones had really amounted to nothing, but this is the first from this side, from Rahman. Oh, and Pinto had made the near post run, but kind of came to it from such an angle that he couldn't really do anything about it. So the third corner for Woodbridge not really amounting to much. Aurora had Di Giovanni streaking down the line, and actually this time Noel looks for him instead, but from a worse angle and under more pressure, so maybe not the best piece of decision making on behalf of Woodbridge striker defense there. Yeah, Di Giovanni still looks like a game runner. He looks like he wants to get beyond his opposite number, Anthony Edwards. And indeed, Woodbridge striker's best two opportunities have come via passes played by him. So, what a wonderful ball from Rose. What a spot. And Mazuka really should have buried that one. But 7 yards from goal, Pothermont stands tall. Doesn't go down early. Gets his hands to that one and tips it over. But you have to say the pass from Rose. When he looked, the defense was moving one way and he sent the ball the other. Well-timed run, of course, as well from Mazouk, but yeah, the finish really should have been buried, but fair play as well to Pothermont in the Woodbridge goal. It's a brave, strong goalkeeping. And this one just evades the on-rushing Mazouk at the far post. Holy now, finding Sebaduka. Looks to float that one across, does beautifully to find the run of Robinson, and Vaughan screaming themselves hoarse in an effort to convince the referee that Noel had handled the ball when sliding to block the cross from Robinson. The referee unmoved by their protests. Passage, not really anywhere to go, and this route to Pinto seems like a dead end because, again, Spizziri, who's clearly a talented player, but wants to tuck inside. So never really an option down the line for Pinto on this near side for Woodbridge. Higgins now strides forth, finds Sebaduka, who's got nothing but green space ahead of him. Zambasa sticks with that one, looks to force his way through, but Spiteri comes away with the ball. He really gives Rahman a hospital pass with that one, but the Woodbridge Strikers defense just about able to smuggle that one clear, as Moulopoulos now will look to break, has options. Wishart's ahead of him, up against Higgins, and a good challenge from the Vaughan SC centre back to snuff out that opportunity. Was a good use of the body strength from Wishart, and he does so again, stays strong, but again sort of crowded out by massed Vaughan SC numbers with no real support. Campoli had continued his run down this line, and Marzouk found him with a wonderful ball over, up against Vasic, trying to get around the outside. Vasic stays strong though, stays on his feet, was sensible and defended that one well. Vaughan doing very well though to spot and exploit the space quickly. Now Robinson and Zambasis doing their best to kind of ruin that short corner routine as Wishart finds Moulopoulos. Breaking with pace. Look at this transition between with Woodbridge now, but it's Wishart against two. Woodbridge get themselves set up, and a loose touch, but Moulopoulos just about able to keep hold of things, and then tries to take too long with that one as Sebaduk is on hand to deny the easy cross. Spiteri needs looking for movement ahead of him. Woodbridge not really giving it to him. Aurora has plenty of space on that far touchline should they want to find him, but Moulopoulos is quick into that challenge. Looks to spring an attack at the same time, but Higgins is on hand to cut that one out. And similarly, Luca Pinto. Aiden really had a Di Giovanni, but waved off the chances. Instead looked for Spiteri down this left channel. Was a good turn from Marzouk as he drives at the defense and is hauled down by the retreating Franco Di Giovanni, who earns a yellow card for his troubles in the 36th minute.
Yellow card to Woodbridge striker number 24, Franco Giovanni, in the 36th minute.
But he keeps that one moving around the back. Higgins looks for options. Robinson has made a really, really nice time runner. That's a great ball over, and he has done terrifically to beat the somewhat tentative rush out from Potamon. The goalkeeper was certainly caught in two minds, and you have to say, sometimes soccer is a simple game. The long ball over the top from Higgins found the beautifully timed run from Robinson to beat the offside trap, and Spiteri actually is down on this near side remonstrating with the assistant referee on that call, but it seemed from my vantage point to be perfectly timed, and really it was a result of Pothamont's perhaps indecision in terms of whether to come. His starting position was maybe a little bit deep. And Robinson's cool head, of course, to finish that one off. Slide it in for his second of the game in the 37th minute to extend the lead 2-0 for Vaughan SC in the first half of this Vaughan derby, the first of a doubleheader here at York University. Spiteri having to show very neat, tidy feet to get out of a tight spot, and again sharing words with the fourth official this time, possibly hoping for a free kick goal, and now sharing words with the Vaughan SC bench, really making friends down there. But never mind that. We'll keep watching the game as Hugo Hayden with actually a really good effort. From the angle, maybe it looked like it was further away than it was. He did terrifically to pick the ball up, charge down into the gaps, the slightest of gaps left behind for the Vaughan SC defense, and let loose a terrific shot with that left foot, which we've seen is a real weapon as Sebaduka just gallops down this near side. Dispossessed by Spiteri, but between he and Rose now. Wonderfully done. And now the left-footed cross. Finding Aurora only as far as Robinson. Mazouk. Or as Mazouk and Robinson conspire to, well, find it to Edwards. Looks to get beyond Aurora. Woodbridge right back standing strong. Doing well. Edwards, though, not giving up on that one. But Rahman is on hand to sweep that one clear. Allow the Woodbridge defense to regain their shape, catch their breath for a second perhaps. Di Giovanni is maybe a little too brusque in his attentions towards Robinson on that one. Gives up a free kick. And with the Vaughan SC centre-back Higgins trotting forward to say perhaps this could be considered in an advantageous position to mount a set piece as the time ticks on in this first half. Vaughan already with a 2-goal lead though, so deciding to decline the direct option. One Wishart did what he could to bring that one in, but Zeppieri on hand. Higgins does have, Sebaduka here on this near side. Oh, it does brilliantly to take that space and just about knocks it ahead of Luca Pinto. Both players down. And Luca Pinto, for his troubles, looks like could receive a yellow card for that challenge. Very possible he should have done. We'll see how that one develops. In the meantime, both players being tended to by their physios. Raheem Rose certainly seems to be arguing the case for a disciplinary action on behalf of the referee, but he's not the one with the whistle, of course. Sebaduka is up and moving under his own steam. Pinto doing the same, and indeed adding himself a yellow card, adding insult to injury in the most literal sense of the term. In the 42nd minute,
goal in the fourth quarter.
Now, we've seen Woodbridge able to take advantage of transitional opportunities in the past, but not really support them in the same way. Now, with 2 goals down, this could be considered an opportunity for them to do the same if they're able to break quickly from this set piece. Oh, and instead, actually, that's a neat ball and good movement from Marzouk, who is agog that one was perhaps not even as a corner, instead awarded as a goal kick. That one cut out by Knoll, but not in any way that could be considered effective. Campoli back on the ball. And Campoli winning his team a free kick. Oh, that one quickly back underway. Marzouk darting into the penalty area, evading a challenge, but the ball across. Ineffective this time around. Pothermont happy to take hold of that one. Aurora finds Di Giovanni. His back heel in field for Moulopoulos was perhaps more optimistic than anything else, but the Knoll had saved by the whistle on that one as he had strayed forward in an attempt to win the ball, but had left something of a gap behind him that Vaughan looked to quickly exploit, but the whistle had gone for a free kick in Woodbridge's favour. Di Giovanni looks to play that one inside, and Moulopoulos winning the second or third ball, depending on who you talk to. And now that's one played out for Di Giovanni. Finds Aiden. Di Giovanni does have a couple of blue shirts in the box to aim at, but not able to get anywhere with this time around as Aurora looks inside for Rahman. And Aiden, I have to say, he wins that free kick. The opportunity had gone, but he did well to initiate the contact. Win the free kick in a dangerous position. And Woodbridge will certainly be seeing this set piece as an opportunity to claw one back. As Rahman and Aiden chat about the plan here. Aiden will loop that one across. It finds Knoll and clutched gratefully by Alessio Carbone in the Vaughan Azzurri net. The Woodbridge striker centre back Isaiah Knoll had done terrifically. Strode up from the back, got his forehead on the ball in from Hugo Aiden, but a good opportunity for Woodbridge, denied this time by the Vaughan Azzurri goalkeeper. As we move into extra time, 2 minutes or so indicated by the fourth official, so we shouldn't be here too much longer. Robinson flicks that one on for nobody. Was maybe hoping for Edwards to have made that run down the line, but not on this occasion. As you can see, actually, it's quite nice to see the shape of Vaughan when they're out of possession as they settle into a 4-1-4-1, but pretty fluid in terms of who is occupying which role in that front five. As we started the game, Rose was nearest to us, and you can see at this point he's furthest away now, whether this is just because they are just out of a set piece, or defending a set piece situation, or whether this is just something that they will do throughout the course of the game in order to exploit opportunities and perceived weaknesses in the back line of Woodbridge strikers. Either way, worth keeping an eye on as this develops, as Vaughan actually need to be careful they don't play themselves into trouble. Gogati deciding discretion is the better part of valor and just lumping that one clear. And Knoll sending it back with interest. Wishart, though, hadn't managed to get himself back on side. And it's that sort of thing that I'm sure will be driving Peter Pinizzotto, the head coach for Woodbridge, up the wall. One taken in by Hugo Aiden, but maybe we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was just a reaction to use his hand. But that actually brings us our first half to a close. Thank you for joining us. It's currently Vaughan SC 2, Woodbridge Strikers 0. Both goals by Ryan Robertson in the 20th minute and the 37th minute. It's been a tight game thus far under the heat here at York University Stadium. But come back, as I'm sure the second half is going to heat up even more. So we'll see you in just a few minutes. See you soon. Alright folks, welcome back to the second half of our League One Ontario Men's Premier Division Game of the Week. We've got our Vaughan derby here between Vaughan SC and Woodbridge Strikers. Vaughan SC with a 2-0 lead from the first half. Both goals from the Ryan Robinson, the number 11 there on Vaughan SC. As we have switched ends, of course, Vaughan SC now with the white shirts, red shorts, moving right to left. Woodbridge Strikers, all blue. The Sampdoria-esque colours moving left to right. Now, actually, there has been Woodbridge 2 goals down, have decided to ring the changes at half-time and made 4 changes. Luca Pinto, Navid Rahman, Riley Wishart, and Franco Di Giovanni being replaced by Justin Cicillo. Apologies if that is not the correct pronunciation. It is indeed Ciccio. Michael Mancuso, number 19, actually, Dante Ruddock, who we just see there, and moving the ball for Mancuso, who was another of our introductory. Actually, with a very, very neat ball lashed across the face of goal behind the defense, causing the Vaughan SC defense to panic somewhat there. So, well, you know, a quick and sharp and effective introduction by Michael Mancuso. And then, apologies, the final new player would be Finney Joseph, number 25. So we'll see what this does in terms of changing the shape. Certainly the personnel have been changed. 4 players changed by Woodbridge. We'll see if they want to, maybe this is a case of just getting some energy into the team early in the second half in an effort to get on this front foot, grab an early one, as that one is that's a much better ball in. Looking for the placed shot there from Cicillo, but not able this time to beat Alessio Carbone. So yeah, we'll see what this does in terms of shape, build-up play. Indeed, they don't look like they've kind of let off from the willingness to kind of press in the opposition penalty box, but leaving big holes, slightly disconcerted, out of sync a little bit with the press. Raheem Rose was able to drop in and just kind of provide the option. So no changes from Vaughan SC. They look like they're continuing on as they had been in both personnel and shape. Zepieri switching that one nicely for Marzouk. Campoli doing nicely to hold off Mancuso. Driving forward, has Edwards on the overlap. Edwards has got options in the middle. Needs to cut back in on that right foot though. Rose. Ooh, tried to play Edwards inside, but Campoli alive to it, able to keep hold of that ball, retain possession for Vaughan. Pulls it out of there, moving it all the way back for Zepieri. Rose assesses his options, doesn't make it past Knoll. And Woodbridge now able to spring themselves the other way. Ruddock driving forward with the ball at his feet. Not really much in the way of support, but he definitely wants to get down the outside of Zepieri. Loops that one across, not really dealt with by the Vaughan defense at all. But the newly introduced Cicillo just absolutely aghast that had been decided, been adjudged to have been a handball. And a yellow card now shown to the one of the coaching staff on the Vaughan bench, who, as to be said, has been somewhat vociferous throughout the game. So, not an unearned admonition from the referee. And Vaughan now, were they playing themselves into trouble, just about getting away with it. Carbone spreading that one over, but only finding Mancuso. His ball, his head back into space, was gobbled up by the white shirts as Campoli now able to stride forward. Just glides past the Vaughan midfield as Moulopoulos able to battle his way back into the game, retain possession, but Vaughan again, look to build. Zumbasis, Rose, finds Robinson. Scorer over brace on a hat trick. His switch for Marzouk is very nicely weighted and judged. Oh, Marzouk just dancing down that outside, trying to cut back inside Spizziri, but I'm sure he'll settle for the corner. Robinson stood over this once, an outswinger met by Marzouk, but the ball nearly worked its way clear to Rose, but what a very neat take by Aiden, but dispossessed by Anthony Edwards, and that's a great work from Zeppieri to find Robinson, who'd stayed over on that far side. Good turn from Marzouk inside as he drives, dances, evades, and Higgins had stayed up and took the shot and actually hit Marzouk on the shot on the way through. But yeah, we saw Omar Marzouk slicing across the front of that Woodbridge striker's defense. No one really able to get a foot in or lay a body on him. A nice turn outside for Campoli. The ball across. Finds Marzouk, who, for the second time this game, is offered a more than presentable opportunity to extend the lead for Vaughan SC. And for the second time this game, decides to turn that opportunity down. The one can perhaps give the Vaughan SC forward a bit of a pass on that one, in that, you know, maybe he was surprised that the ball made it through to him at all. He was certainly leaning far too back when he struck it and sent it clear over the crossbar when it really should have been nestling in the back of the net. Zeppieri has options out to this side. Neat work from Vaughan to work that one through those tight spaces, keep things moving here. Zumbasis just floating inside with that ball at his feet, finds Sebaduka. Oh, very lovely stuff there. A little croqueta to get past Spizziri, but the Woodbridge strikers' defense massing ranks and closing up, not allowing any further progress. Vaughan doing the same Molopoulos now with Edwards. Rose pointing forward on the overlap, but Edwards turning him down. Woodstitch cutting inside beautifully, finding Campoli, who wasn't able to get away from the attentions of Luka Vasic too quickly enough to get the shot away cleanly, but terrific work by Nathaniel Edwards. Sincere apologies. Nathaniel Edwards down this near side as he gave his I think it was Uday Aurora twisted blood on that one. Found Campoli in the box, but Campoli's turn was not quite quick enough and sharp enough to get away from Vasic. Noel gets his head on that at the near post. Finds Hugo Aiden, but Edwards not giving up on it. Oh, that's a nice ball through for Cicciolo to play chase. But once again, we see whenever there is ingress made by a Woodbridge player, there's not really any kind of support, and the clearance didn't get any further than Hugo Aiden, but his shot certainly didn't trouble Carbone in net. Bugatti is looking for his options. It does very well to find Rose with a direct ball right up the middle. That one is taken in neatly. Robertson plays in Marzouk, who has Sebaduka overlapping on that far side. Takes him up on that offer. Sebaduka gets it out to Campoli, who wins the free kick at the top of the box. Now this has to be said is in a very, very dangerous position. So we'll see. I'm sure Vaughan will likely have a conference between several players who will wish to try their hand with this one. So as we know, earlier in the season here, just as I mentioned, that these teams are all still striving for playoff spots. Woodbridge missing out, of course, last season. Vaughan, as I'm sure we're all aware, undefeated champions. But aside from the playoffs, there is plenty to play for this season with the introduction of promotion and relegation next season. Scampoli takes the shot, hits the wall, and will claim the corner quite happily. Yes, as mentioned, we are going to have promotion and relegation with League One Ontario next season. Over this season and last season, the accumulated points, or the points accumulated by each team, will be taken into account. And the Premier Division will be split into two. Points from last season count for 0.75%, or 0.75 of a point, as that one is sent in, met by Parthemont, who earns a free kick. So yeah, as mentioned, points from last season will be worth 0.75 of a point. Points from this season will be worth 1, the full value. And the combined points total across last season and this season will be what decides the eventual split between the two divisions. Noel does nicely to get himself away from danger, but can't find a blue shirt with that ball out. But Aiden is just dances past Zepieri. Absolutely no issues at all. Pokes it into the path of Ciccioli. Sebaduka perhaps overplaying this one, but able to turn, get his laces through it and get it clear. Mulopoulos with a neat little touch inside. Looking for his options. Doesn't really have anybody moving ahead of him. And Mancuso, who's gone across to the other side now. Tried to get that one in. Tried to get that cross in, but not quite able to. We'll see what they do with this throw in. No real options in the box. Dante Ruddock, the only blue shirt in the penalty area at present. Spizziri coming back to get involved in this game after he switched over to this side, normally the right-sided winger. Aiden battling with Zepieri, waiting for the whistle from the referee, finally earning it. Aurora just cutting inside, but maybe catching the ball on the turf a touch there, but Spizziri keeping that one alive. Wriggling away from Raheem Rose, finding Ruddock. On the ball across is a neat one, not held by Carboni, but a repeat of everything that we've seen so far with Woodbridge strikers. Just not enough support on that ball, not enough forward players for Woodbridge gambling on that one, coming clear. And another opportunity goes begging. The score 2-0 to Vaughan, but Woodbridge could really have a few themselves. This one looped over from Aiden, evading Nolf. Spizziri nearly able to settle that one down, but all kind of bouncing off his shins, and away we go. Wolopoulos with a big switch over to the other side. And Aiden with the touch into space beyond Sebaduka, but not quite able to retrieve it on the other side. As two Woodbridge players needed to communicate a little bit more, but they got away with it. It's a nice ball for Citroli from Aurora. Spitzieri. Wolopoulos. Just a little bit behind Aurora, but he comes away with it. And does very nicely indeed, but can't get away from Higgins. Now the shot from Aiden is, again, an optimistic one from that far out. And right down the throat of Alessio Carbone, who's, I'm sure, happy to accept that. It's been a good, positive spell of possession for Woodbridge. As Marzouk protests that he should indeed have won a free kick on that. Coming together on the far side. Noel finds himself in a bit of trouble under the pressure of Campoli. And we have another change for Woodbridge Strikers as Hugo Aiden is withdrawn in favor of Ronaldo Marshall. Ronaldo Marshall, another goal threat off the bench. 2 goals thus far this season. We'll see if he can add to his tally this afternoon. Get Woodbridge Strikers back into this game. Zeppieri surely will look to spread this one out for Edwards, but run out by Spitzieri. Wolopoulos gets this one away from Zeppieri. He's chasing this ball to presumably an effort to undo his mistake, but Spitzieri was given the ball in a very unfavorable position there with 3 or 4 white shirts around him. Sambas is able to pick his pass, just eluding Rose this time around, but to have the time to turn himself back inside, I'm sure is something he'd be happy about all day long. But Woodbridge coming the other way now. Oh, that ball just behind Ruddock, who'd made a good run ahead of Gogati in between the 2 centre-backs. Not a bad effort at all. Sebaduka now will look to just lengthen that stride, gallop down the field. Get this Woodbridge defense back pedaling. Marzouk, I'm sure, happy to receive this one in the corner. Only the 65th minute of the game. They'll still be looking for another one, of course, but having the ball in that part of the field will probably work out very nicely. And Vaughan maybe guilty of dawdling a touch in the middle of the field there. Ronaldo Marshall not letting that one go. Raheem Rose winning a free kick under the intentions of the newly introduced Woodbridge striker. I'd like to... Well, we're going to take a minute to remind you of our sponsors, but looks like Robinson has stood over this one, looking to finish his hat trick off, but not with efforts like that, he's not. Ottoman launching that one long. And eventually working its way to a blue shirt, but Sebaduka was down, back up on his feet. Woodbridge retaining possession now. Now they'll look to build. As Moulopoulos again is maybe caught out of touch, dawdling a little on the ball. Spiteri has a roar on the overlap, but it was not a great, no, it wasn't a piercing run from the fullback as Campoli wins a free kick, much to the chagrin of the Woodbridge players. As the pace of this game has slowed down a touch in the second half, possibly under the effect of the heat of the day, possibly under the effect of Vaughan SC knowing that with 2 goals to the good, there's no real need for them to chase anything or risk anything. Happy to just keep hold of this ball, wait for a Woodbridge mistake rather than trying to force it themselves. Zambasis has Campoli inside. It's been very interesting actually this game to see the Vaughan front line, the kind of the front 5, not even including the fullbacks, and how fluid they are in terms of their positioning and their roles. Everybody understands what needs to be done wherever they are. Oof, and that's a bold attempt to retain the ball, a physical one that is not rewarded by Luka Vasic as he gives up a free kick just on the edge of the penalty area. Not a terrific shooting opportunity, but, well, we'll see. We'll see how Vaughan assess this situation. But yeah, as the referee counts the yards here, just want to remind you that this afternoon's broadcast has been brought to you by CIBC. They're a proud partner of League One. Gatorade, to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. Degree, inspiring the confidence to move. And Macron, work hard, play harder, as Robinson stands over this and certainly has plenty of options to aim this ball at. Loops it over. Noel had a touch at that near post and she just ended up just eluding any Vaughan players, and it sort of hacked clear by the Woodbridge defence, but straight to a Vaughan shirt. Edwards still full of running on this near side. Cuts inside for Campoli. Oh, kept his run going really nicely and worked well with Campoli to fashion that shooting chance. You feel like maybe that's been the difference between the two teams today, is Vaughan seem much more aggressive in terms of their movement forwards, where Woodbridge as a team perhaps seem a little bit more tentative, which sort of has resulted in opportunities maybe falling by the wayside for Woodbridge strikers today, as they just can't get the support behind the ball in those forward areas. As we see actually a couple of changes for Vaughan SC, so Ryan Robinson denied the opportunity to finish his hat trick off as he is replaced in the 70th minute. By Geronimo Sabatasso.
Also entering the game, number 13, Joe Mack. Exiting the game, number 10, Emmanuel Zambasis.
And Emmanuel Zambasis is replaced by Joe Mack in the 70th minute, which actually is a pretty good cue for a drinks break here. So what have we seen thus far? We've seen 2 goals. Plenty of missed opportunities for both sides, actually, to either get in the game or extend their lead. Omar Marzouk, in particular, in spite of his instrumental role in the first goal, had two opportunities rather to extend this lead that maybe will keep him up night. In the first half, Riley Wishart of Woodbridge Strikers with a couple of good opportunities as well, including one in the 3rd minute to really get things going with a bang, but that opportunity not taken. The second half has really kind of slowed down a little in terms of tempo, but we still see some solid opportunities from both sides as Woodbridge look to work their way back into this game with a lot of fresh legs put on at half-time. And actually the full complement of subs, which I think makes a lot of sense given the conditions, but as we know, whenever you make changes en masse, you do risk upsetting any sort of rhythm that you might have settled into. So doing it at halftime, not a bad decision at all on the side of the Woodbridge coaching staff to make sure that they are able to start fresh. And indeed, they played themselves into the game quickly. Dante Ruddock had a good ball pulled across the top of the 6-yard box. Mancuso actually the same. But still ultimately somewhat toothless up front. And that's actually that I think you could say that's somewhat reflected in their goal scoring record. It's, as mentioned, they were 10th coming into this game, Woodbridge, with 3 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties. But actually a -1 goal difference, only 10 goals scored across those 7 games and 11 conceded. So they have found themselves in tight games and have lost plenty of scoring. Actually, a lot of their leading scorers from last season are not part of the squad anymore. So be a season-long effort, I'm sure, on behalf of the coaching staff and the squad. As Gogati does well to get across, cover that ground, and take that ball away from Ronaldo Marshall. Mulopoulos gets this one out for Aurora, but yeah, a season-long puzzle to find goals in this Woodbridge team and make sure they can secure a spot in the Premier Division next season. Mancuso looking to link up with Joseph, but Mancuso a little over-attentive in his attempts to win that one back from Joe Mack, the newly introduced Joe Mack. Daniel Edwards. Golders a little, but able to find Zeppieri. Ooh, again, maybe got a little lucky, but was able to wriggle his way out of the one gap left by those 3 Woodbridge shirts. Finds Marzouk. Campoli's continued his run, but Marzouk, with a lovely little twist, a drop of the shoulders, a twist of the hips to keep cutting through that space and find himself through on goal, but Alexander Pothamont standing strong again and denying Marzouk for the 2nd time in this game, and that could be the 3rd goal that Marzouk really should have taken. He has 4 goals in the season so far, so he's certainly not out of scoring touch, but yeah, I'm sure he'll be ruining those chances today. Joe Mack doing well with a nice high press to cut that ball out now, able to settle it down. Play it inside side for Sapatasso. Want to keep that thing moving, make sure it doesn't get caught out by the swarming Woodbridge players. Higgins now able to move forward with the ball at his feet, finds Sebatuko. And Campoli battling, looking to turn inside Knoll, but giving up a free kick instead. Spitzeri's ball inside for Ruddock was a little wayward. And Gogati instead able to find Edwards. It was better from Woodbridge, able to build a little through the middle of the field. Teacherly inside Joe Mack, who makes no real attempt to play the ball there. But it certainly does bring the attack to a halt. Giving up a free kick in an advantageous position for Woodbridge, so we'll see what they're able to mount from here as Mulopoulos goes to stand over it. We've seen the... Oh, that's taken quickly. Teacherly cuts inside Sebaduka. Oh, but Spizieri, who's actually been great today in terms of just like being defensively solid, always available, reading the game nicely, plugging the gaps, is across to give up nothing more than a corner. And Woodbridge really haven't been able to mount anything too substantial from these corners previously in the game. So we'll see if they're able to change that tail here. As that one is finds its way to the near post and is sort of hacked clear by Vaughan for another one. Another corner for Woodbridge. This one again finds its way to the near post and flashes across the face of goal. Just found a seam that no one really wanted to gamble on, and Ruddock flicked it on. It eluded everybody in both blue and white. And Vaughan will be relieved to be let off from that one, as Marzouk now plays it for Edwards, but Edwards had drifted offside. And Woodbridge denied the opportunity to start quickly and look to exploit another transition by Vaughan Azuri change. As in the 78th minute, Christopher Campoli is replaced by Abdul Rauf Mohammed. Mulopoulos having to work hard to evade that press. Now Marshall turns, looks, sees Ruddock making the run. The ball just out of reach of the streaking Woodbridge forward. Carboni, though, with a good starting position, able to spring forward, take that one away. Edwards really looking to work that one down the near side and actually giving up a throw-in, which again we are denied the opportunity to quickly take, as Mancuso, who had been introduced at half-time, is replaced by Sean Costa. One can only assume that's injury-related rather than anything else. As certainly hadn't been performing too poorly, not to my eye anyway.
Entering number 16, Sean Costa. Exiting the game, number 13, Michael Goldman.
Marzouk doing well with holding off the challenge there. And Edwards streaking down the field. Rauf Mohammed is able to turn, looks to play Edwards in, but Noel is on hand. Mulopoulos just dawdling on that for far too long. Mack in like a shot. as he has been since his introduction. He's bringing a lot of energy into that midfield, pressing in that sort of, not allowing the Woodbridge defensive midfielder to really settle on the ball as Rauf Mohammed and Rose look to combine. And it's a shot from Rauf Mohammed that hits the side netting, but good work from the Vaughan 2 to work that opportunity, create the shooting opportunity. The angle wasn't terrific. It was an ambitious attempt, but hit with venom. As Marshall will look to attack this half clear it ball, and again able to let loose something with some real vigor. Too close to Carbone in the end, but Ronaldo Marshall not afraid to let that one go, not afraid to take the shot, and it was a powerful attempt in the end. As again he puts the challenge in, and a pretty late call from the referee has led to the a yellow card, like a cautioning of actually one of the players on the bench in the 82nd minute. So you'll have to forgive me if I can't tell you which one, but I'm sure we'll find out in short order. But the wave of protests that the lateness of that call elicited certainly created a response in kind, as Raheem Rose actually had plenty of room down that far side if Joe Mack wanted to find him, but he said he moved it across with the help of Sabatasso. And Costa gets away with a handball on that one, but the ball making its way back into Vaughan possession. As we see another change for Vaughan, Raheem Rose replaced in the 83rd minute by Soji Olatoye. Worth noting that Rose's captaincy handed off to Daniel Gogati, who actually we see up against Marshall, who's I have to say, whenever Ronaldo Marshall has had the ball at his feet since his introduction, he looks like he's pretty capable of making something happen, and that's really good work by Olatoye to deny Joseph the opportunity to cross that ball in, but it finds its way to Spitziri, gets around the outside of Sebaduka, but his ball doesn't elude Gogati. And now Ruddock, in challenging for the ball, has found himself offside, or perhaps given up the free kick. The referee deaf to the pleas of the Woodbridge team, and allowing things to move on. Well, that's a nice ball over for Rauf Mohammed. Up against Vasek. Plays it back inside for Olatoye. Joe Mack now. I think maybe wanted something a little bit more incisive in terms of a run from Olatoye, but moves it back for Sebaduka. Sabatasso now. Chance to turn, but only into a wall of blue. Vaughan maybe would have been better served. Coming back inside for Zippieri, but look to continue moving down that flank. As Ruddock wins a free kick for his efforts. It's good work, actually. Really nice close control. Soft feet. As the game ticks its way down, and Costa plays in Aurora into the 86th minute. Just a few minutes left for Woodbridge to get themselves back in this game. We'll start seeing if there's the heat ramps up a little bit. Was Mulopoulos. Does very nicely to move away from the on-rushing challenge of the Vaughan SC players. Still down, stretching, but Woodbridge get us moving. Mulopoulos still down. Maybe suffering with a wee bit of cramp there, actually. Oh, we'll keep this moving for Costa. Finds Sichilo. And Mulopoulos going down actually is going to see his removal. In the 87th minute, he's not going to be able to continue. It's unfortunate. He had a really good game in the middle of the park, I think, for Woodbridge. And we'll see the introduction of Gianluca Condello in the 87th minute here. Just as a quick note, I did see a bit of a... Oh, and that's actually a lovely ball in. And met by Ruddock, and his header took a deflection off a Vaughan player on its way through. So it took a lot of the sting out of the attack, and Carboni was able to set that one down. Yeah, I just want to mention I did see a little bit of conferring between the Woodbridge bench and Pothamont in the Woodbridge net. So let's keep an eye on that if Woodbridge find themselves with an opportunity. Costa had the shooting opportunity should he have decided to take it, but moves it back. Aurora now. Spray that one over. Spizziri plays this one for Joseph. Joseph looks for his options, cuts inside nicely away from Olatore. Sichilo tries to just get through too many players. They closed the gates and didn't let him through, and now we see the fresh legs of Rauf Mohammed getting around the outside of the Woodbridge defense. Looked to win a corner, but actually only giving up a goal kick. And another change as Sami Sebaduka is replaced in the 89th minute by Isaac Bradbury. Sebaduka, I think, has played very, very well today as that fullback. Did very, very well to stretch that space wherever possible with the ball at his feet, lengthen his stride, and really drive into that space whenever given the opportunity. Ruddock just being stronger than Zeppieri. Nice step overs and a good shot unleashed on net. Excellent work from Dante Ruddock. To see his shot saved by Carboni, I'm sure he'd be a little frustrated at that. It was straight at the keeper. But Carboni did well to kind of claw it over the bar, give up a corner. This one will be whipped in by Costa. Marshall gets his forehead to it. Out jumps Gogati just beyond the far post. All game, these fine margins have just been eluding Woodbridge strikers. Sabatasso wants options, doesn't really have anything going, and Spizziri doing well to not let him turn into that space, but that ball forward for Rauf Mohammed is a nice one, and now there's a couple of options forward. Bradbury giving that one up cheaply as we have an indication of 3 extra minutes as Ruddock chases that one down, keeps it in. Citrulli is in the box, he has the opportunity there. is played across, and Higgins able to take the sting out of the cross, and Carboni, who initially looked as if he would have been caught out by that, sharp off the line to make the save. Aurora hooks that one back over, looking for Costa, finding only Edwards. Else Mohammed has found the continued run of Marzouk, who looked for his teammate with the reverse pass, but wasn't quite able to sneak that one through. Sabatasso had a couple of options down that right side, but wasn't able to get the ball past PCU to find either of them. And we have what surely must be our final change of the game, as Christian Zeppieri will be replaced in what I think we could call the 92nd minute by Jayton Pabla. As mentioned, I think Zeppieri is Zeppieri is similar to his numerical counterpart on Woodbridge. Actually, both number 17s have done a really good job in the center of defense. As Rauf Mohammed finds himself onside, seemingly somewhat surprised, but no real support in the middle. But yeah, both number 17s, I think, for both teams, the heart of midfield, have done a great job kind of defending, covering that defense and keeping the ball ticking over when in possession of the ball. Pablo immediately getting himself into the game, finding Edwards. Olatoye finds the overlapping, or the underlapping run, I suppose, rather, of Jayton Pabla. Sabatasso finds Bradbury with all manner of space in the midfield. But Ruddock doing very well to track back, but finding its way back to Sabatasso. Sneaks that one through for Rauf Mohammed. Looks to turn Knoll, but Isaiah Knoll standing strong. Finding Cichulo, who looked to break, and in doing so draws a yellow card. And that one really could have been either of the Vaughan players who were in attendance there, so it seems like it was the referee was wafting it towards Pabla. Although to my eye, Bradbury was the last man on the scene, so to speak. So as this game winds its way down, we've seen Woodbridge battle somewhat unsuccessfully. And actually, the referee brings this one to a close. Yeah, Vaughan Azzurri making their experience and quality in front of net play to their advantage and work out as they run out 2-0 winners behind 2 goals from Ryan Robinson in the first half. A hotly contested game in this doubleheader ahead of the York United FC and Calvary FC Canadian Premier League game that I suggest you find on whichever medium you choose. And I want to say, on behalf of myself and the team here, thank you for joining us this afternoon for our League One Ontario Men's Premier Division Game of the Week, which saw Vaughan Azzurri went out 2-0 winners over Woodbridge Strikers. Thank you again, and please don't be a stranger. We'll see you soon.